Hi, Sean. Hi, Greg. Hi, Brian. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Cody.
Hey, Professor.
How you doing?
Not bad. How about you?
Good. Good to hear that. Hi, Chris. Are you okay, Chris? You look very serious.
Yeah, this this class is
You
tough.
okay? What's tough?
This class not doing so well with the project.
But that was the only thing we did for the last 5 weeks. You've been busy? It's
Busy,
the work.
tired, just keep running into the same stupid Java errors that I should know how to fix by now, and it's just like, I don't know.
You guys don't have some kind of system like help each other, ask questions, Discord? No? You're not using any of that? I thought it might be a good thing. Okay, how many? We have 14. We'll wait a little bit longer, couple more minutes. I hope the people didn't just drop out. Hi, Sean.
Oh,
Hi, Anthony. Was it difficult, the project? Wasn't, was it? It wasn't that difficult. I haven't graded your stuff yet. I have like 6 courses ahead of you, so I've been grading theirs. And there's one more class ahead of you. A total of 7 classes, really, because this is we just had the 5th week last week, so all the exams were done last week. So been weekend and been grading their stuff. Yesterday, grading their stuff.
I have a question. Is it possible to still turn in? Like, I already turned mine in, but I know there's stuff I could improve on. Is it possible to, like,
Well,
before you grade it?
yeah, we're gonna talk about this. Let me just see how many people we have now. Like 19. Well, we'll have 26 people, only 19. So let's wait a little bit and we can talk about it. Hi, Augustino.
Hello.
How many now? 22, 21, 21 people right now. 21. Well, we can talk about it. Here's what I think. Okay, by no means we're gonna do this. I just want to bounce that off you and see how you think. I think it's a good idea to finish one project completely. Okay, and I don't think it's a good idea to have a lot of like a half finished projects, right? We'd rather have one project finished completely, okay, with the beginning from beginning to the end. So, based on that thought, we could finish this one, the one we just did, okay, as the first stage, and we continue to implement it to add a lot of other things on top of it. Okay, to make the program a professional level program, there are a lot of things you have to do about it. Okay, there's a lot of things. That's what we're going to talk about next. For example, we're going to have to test our program, okay, by using some testing tools. One of them is called a JUnit test. So we're going to learn about that. We're also going to learn how to generate like a document for an application. Okay, you understand? When we were looking at any kind of a classes or methods on Java APIs, there's always a website or web page go with it, right? That's why when you do a search, it will take you to the Java doc, and the Java doc will explain to you what each class is about and what all those methods are included, how to use those methods, what the parameters are expected, right? So that's called documentation. And so we would like to add that component to it as well. So when you finish your product, not only you have just a code, you have the code, but also you have a complete documentation. You understand? Okay. Then obviously we need to add all this graphics user interface so people can actually use the program, right? Um, so those are things we need um, to think about. And in the end, we also need to learn to package the project into a executable file so people can run your program without Eclipse. Right now, your program has to start from Eclipse, right? Okay, but when you use a regular commercial program, you don't need Eclipse, right? You just have the program, you double click on, you can run it, correct? So we also have to do things like that. That means we need to learn how to package our project into executable, to make it big independent of the IDE. Okay, so those are just a few things we need to do. Okay, and also there's another thing we need to learn very quickly. I think it's next week. That is how to um, how to design an application. Okay, when we did our programs in the past, when we did our project in the past, for the most part, you just go ahead and start Eclipse and start to write up the program, right? Write the code, Java code, right? But that is not the right thing to do, even though that's what we've been doing for since day one, right? But that's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is actually get a piece of paper or get another program that will help you to draw the design. So in other words, you're going to have schematics to decide what the components you need to put in this program, and what are the functions, what are the purposes, what the features the program will have before you actually write one line of Java code. So the way we did it is totally um, wrong. Okay, from a professional point of view, nobody should just go start off Eclipse and start writing code without thinking about design first. Okay, so design is just done in the end when the design, the coding part is in the end. When you finish the design, you already know what the features need to be included, what the features should not be included, what each feature does. In other words, the scope of the work has been defined. Okay, and also you're gonna have to decide on how many classes you're gonna use. Okay, and in each class, what are the variables you're gonna use? Like instance variables, static variables, and also what kind of methods you're gonna use. All put it down onto some schematics without actually write one line of code. Okay, now after you finish design, you can give the schematics to other people to implement. Then the other people can just go ahead, implement without asking any questions, because the schematic is supposed to be so complete, so comprehensive, and it will tell the programmer, the developer, exactly how the program is going to be functional. Okay, without any more verbal explanation. Okay, so that is something we also need to learn, right? So all the things we have to do, we have to do to be able to put into a professionals level application. It's not just writing a program and then it works, and it's not just that. There's a lot of other things are expected to be in the ultimate eventual product. Okay, so that's the part of the purpose of this course. Okay, so my suggestion is we can continue working on this project since you already worked on the data structures, right? You decided on the data structures. Now we can actually put on those schematics and start to decide how many classes total are going to be needed, and how all those classes are going to be interacting with each other, and how many variables are needed, how many methods are needed, and what are the parameters in each method, what each method is going to return, okay, and what the relationships between or among different classes. Okay, so only when you finish all those and then write all the testing portion of it, okay, finish up with all the documentation, then we can say this is a finished product. Of course, in the end, you're able to package it so you can just um, down put it on internet or email someone. There's a whole entire project. Someone just double click on it, they can run it. They don't need to have Eclipse on. They don't need to see your source code. They can already run it. They don't even need to have your source code. Okay, so that's my proposal. Okay, now for people who who decided to turn this application into a web application, if you're following that Udemy course, right, then you may continue to eventually turn this into a web application. In that case, it's no longer a pure Java application. Then it will be a application people can run with a browser. That's what we call a web application. As long as they have a browser, then they can interact with the GUI, and the GUI will be HTML, CSS, JavaScript, rather than JavaFX. Okay, so in that case, the customers or the users of your program just need a browser to use your program. They don't need a Java at all. Okay, so that is a web application. Okay, so that is just like a ultimate goal if you want to get that far. Otherwise, if you're not that ambitious, right, then you could just stop to finish this up as a as a Java application with a JavaFX GUI, okay, and then they can use it as long as they have Java virtual machine. They don't need Eclipse. Okay, so so that's my thought about this. Okay, now one student was asking, can you continue working on the project to improve it? And if you you are willing to take my suggestion, then obviously the answer is yes, right? Because we will continue working on this project. So you're going to have all the time, even in this semester, to finish, to improve. However, though, the deadline we had for Monday, right? That was a deadline. So that will contribute to, say, a third of your final grade. And that part is a line, is a red line. Okay, so whatever you get by Monday is what you get. If you want to improve, you can improve because we're continue going to working on this project, and then you can do better, hopefully, for the second portion of it or the third portion of it, if there's one. Do you understand? Do you know what I'm talking about? Right? Monday is a red line. That's it. Whatever you get is what you get, right? If you accept my proposal, we're going to continue working on this project. Then, of course, you can continue to work on this, right? To improve this until you are satisfied, until there's a new deadline for you to submit. Okay. Or you may decide we want to take a different project completely from scratch, which I'm open to that as well. I don't have to have this current one to get it finished. Okay, in other words, we could have come with another project and then we're gonna do from scratch from that one. Then in that case, then you won't have any opportunity to improve on this one anymore because we're not gonna grade this one anymore. Right? Basically, we're gonna abandon this one, leave it as half finished. Not even half finished. Okay, so just my thought. Okay, so I wonder, do you have any idea or do you have any suggestions, comments, what we want to do from this point on?
So, just to be clear, the options are like either what we had to do by this Monday was 1/3 of this project, and then continue it on for 2/3 of the project and the whole project to complete a whole project, or
Right,
just scrap this and restart with a new one.
right.
Okay.
Right. So
And then
either
on
finish this one, complete the finished one, or abandon this one from this point on, start with a new one, with a new idea, new project, and then you're gonna start from scratch.
so for this one, we could keep on improving up until this Monday, and then we'll
No,
decide from there.
no. The 1/3 grade is last Monday. That was the deadline. Do you remember last Monday was the deadline?
No, I thought it was this Monday coming up.
Yeah, it was this week's Monday. So
No,
the
it was
Monday
last
that just
Monday.
passed.
I thought we didn't have school on Monday. That's why I thought it was the following Monday for Christopher.
Who told you we
Columbus
didn't have a
Day.
class on Monday? We had a class on Monday.
Yeah,
You
and I
couldn't get
showed
in,
up like halfway
remember?
through. Yeah,
You couldn't get in because I look at your email. You were
yeah, I
using the
came
wrong code. So that's why you couldn't get in. And I mean, I'm glad you got in this time.
Yeah, I didn't know it was due this Monday. I was preparing for next Monday. I thought it was Christopher Columbus Day.
Yeah. So it was due last Monday, and originally it was due Wednesday before that, right? And then we decided to have a few more days to let you finish, because I think Cody needed more time because he said he had some math problems, like exams or something, right, Cody? So last Monday was the deadline. Am I right? Or I'm just I'm confused.
No, you're good. You're good.
Right. I think I was right. So, the point is still being that whether we're going to continue working on this project, since you already did quite a bit, or most of you did quite a bit, okay? Continue working on this project. So in the end, we have something really meaningful, right? In the end, or you want to abandon all the work and then start a new project. If you want a new project, I'm even open to suggestions. If you have any interesting ideas you want to do, and if you will agree on it, then we could do it. So those are the two options right now.
Yeah, I'll just say that I like this one. I feel like there's still a bunch of things that we could implement and like
Oh my
really.
God. There's another thing I want to talk about. That is how to use a build tool called a Maven. Okay. Maven is used widely almost by everybody. Okay, it's a build tool that allow you to incorporate libraries from other sources, like a third-party companies and third-party libraries, to include it into your project. Okay, so I think that's something very useful. I like it so much, easy to use. So I think we need to talk about that as well. So those are all professional tools. So I would like to cover that. Um, so so that's part of it. And also, I would really like you at this point to use a third-party program, not just your program, not just the Java API, but third-party program. There's hundreds, thousands of third-party libraries, like Apache. There's so many of them, right? And they're all for different purposes. There are people or companies, they will develop a library for example, medical image processing. Some will do um, artificial intelligence, some for bigger data, some will for facial recognition, some will for fingerprint recognition and categorization. So there are so many people. It's a whole ecosystem out there. People develop libraries. So I think it will be a good idea to learn how to use third-party programs,
Yeah, I
right?
was
So
looking.
one way to do it is use Maven, and Maven will allow you to incorporate libraries, classes from all over the place, and still pretty much guarantee compatibility. Okay, so it's a really, really nice tool, used widely. There's another one we can talk about as well, but Maven is the main one. So there are a lot of things to do. Okay, a lot of things to do. So another thing I would like you to do, the reason I talked about this is also I would like you eventually will implement the routes, the path, right? The different ways to get in from one location to another location. And there are a lot of libraries, and then we're gonna look into that as well. And then
Yeah,
this way, say, okay, from point A to point B, there are following 5 different paths, and each one has its own distances and different what we call different weight. Okay, so those things are interesting things. That's a part of the graph data structures. So I thought it may be interesting to look into that. And we don't want to really develop our own algorithm because that's already developed by tons of people. So all those things already out there. And I thought it may be good to use a Maven to use some existing library for that purpose. Okay. So I thought that may be things that we can do rather than start a new project, then you get to learn the requirements, learn the intricacies of a new project. Then you waste another, say, I don't know, I cannot say 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? Because this one, hopefully, most of you are already thinking about it, already thought about it. So you know what's to be done, what needs to be accomplished. So that's just my thought, but I don't know if you're interested in this idea or not. Okay, because like a hiking type of thing, it's getting a lot more popular nowadays. I think in the last few years, hiking got more and more popular for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, there are people like go crazy. Okay, there are things like people will walk from like a from they walk like thousands of miles, and they walk during the day and the night, and they establish something called FKT. I didn't know what it was until I found out it's called fastest known time. Okay, some people even hire people to follow them, so they will walk, and there's like a van following the person, and they meet every night at a certain place to provide food, and then they will sleep a couple hours, and then they will start walking again. Okay, there are a lot of crazy people out there. Okay, but they like it. I thought it was interesting, right? So you always wonder what's on the other side of the location or the place you look at it. Right, you see a mountain, you say, okay, I wonder what it looks like at the other side of the mountain. And it's also a way you can enjoy the scenery as you walk. Other than like driving, you don't get a chance to to look at things carefully, right? You don't get really the sense of enjoyment as much. So so somehow I don't know the reason, it's getting very popular. So I thought it was interesting, but I don't know about you guys because I'm just too old. We have a 2 generation gap in between. Somewhat like that. Okay, so probably not to some of you, but to some of you maybe. I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe.
that's what
You
I
had a
that's what I
baby
was
at
saying.
18. Yes, I think I can be a grandfather. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that there's more things we can do with this.
Right. There are more things you can do, and also maybe you can take this opportunity to enjoy yourself a little bit because you're no longer in such a rush, right? You have a product that you want to perfect it, you want to do it the way you want it. I'm open to that. So you can actually enjoy it, add the features you want to do, um, like a personalized features just because of you want to do. So I thought maybe something you want to do, but I don't know, it's just me. So
Yeah, I vote for it.
so you maybe a little bit more more like my kind of guy. Okay, so I don't know about the other people. So the younger people, maybe you think this is dumb, and then maybe you think it's stupid. Why you want to do it, right?
Well, I
Um,
am down for
you'd
just
rather stay home. I know playing video game, and that seems to be more interesting than go out and walking.
I'm down to continue on the project as well because, like you said, we already begin. It's good to finish it up and then also perfect it with the new tools that we learn along the way. I think
Mhm.
that's better than
So
starting over.
as you learn new ways, new things, you're going to incorporate into your project. For example, next semester, today we're going to finish up GitHub, right? And then you're going to develop. You have to set up your GitHub. You start to push your project to GitHub. Okay, following all the things we talked about. And then next week, we're going to talk about the schematics, how to design. Then you're going to do the design of the same thing, of the same project. So you do the design, you do the schematics, and then you can do make that part of this project as well. And then another week, we're going to talk about how to write a documentation, how to build a website based on the documentation, and then you can do that as well. And then step by step. Then next week, we're going to talk about the following week, we're going to talk about how to test our code. Okay. And then as we go, we just add new things, new components, new aspects, new features to the same project. But if you don't like this idea, maybe you don't feel, interesting, rather you want something, you know, more interesting, but I don't know what you like better. So if you want a different project, I'm totally open. I just need to know what do you think, what project you have in mind on your mind, then I can, then we can talk about it, see if everybody likes the idea. Okay, so what do you think? Give me some feedback. Do you want to work on this or you want to work on something different? Um,
I like this project.
you
This
like
is
the
a
project?
I like
I
this
like
project, and I like being able to build on it. And I think that we've put a good amount of work into it, and I think there's definitely a lot more to build on, like everybody said.
Yeah, that's good to hear. You put some effort into it already. I'm very happy to hear that. Right?
I agree
Not
with Ryan as
say
well.
that. Well, okay. What about other people? Anybody wants a new project starting from scratch? At all?
I definitely would like to
If
continue
you
working
do,
on this, but I am also interested in hearing like other ideas for projects, just to hear them.
hey, Cody, if you have any ideas, you seem to always have ideas. Maybe you can you can propose something, and then we can maybe able to do two projects, right? Not in other words, two projects for you to choose from. In other words, you don't have to do two, or some people may be interested in doing two, right? Like when we have boot camps, we work from day in morning to evening every day. Then you want more projects, right? For example, we used to do this. Okay, now I'm watered it down now. Used to do what? We used to have one project, it's a group project. So if a couple people working together, and then you're gonna have a merge code because you're working as a team, right? So code go on to GitHub, and then everybody bring down a branch, working on it. Eventually, you're gonna have it all merge into one product. Okay, that's called a group project, right? And then every person also has a personal project. So we used to have two. So, I don't feel you have that appetite now because a lot of you guys are very mellow, you know.
Let
So,
me
Cody, you have any idea what other project you might be interested? Or Brian?
Not necessarily, but I heard from like previous classes that they did like stocks or like made like their own websites that was like for like a restaurant or something like that.
Yeah, we
So
did all kind of things, but the thing is, we have to somewhat focus on one or two, right? We
right.
can't really do too
Yeah,
many.
I just want to hear ideas. That's all. I
Well,
definitely
we
want to
have
continue doing the hiking one.
Well, we had all kinds. We had stock trading. We had experiment, right? The program to experiment different trading strategies, right? That's a big deal in a way because in its own way because we are in New York and New York City is the world financial uh, center, right? So there are a lot of jobs in the financial field. So if you are really interested in making money, that's something you may want to think about, right? But that's just one idea. Okay, so what you need to do in that case is you're gonna download data from historical stock trading, the stock market. So you can get all everyday's trading data for the last 10, 20, 30 years. And then you will experiment some kind of trading strategies, right? For example, you will say, okay, every week I'm going to sell on Friday afternoon. I'm going to buy on next Monday morning. And I just want to see if that will make me money. Okay. I'm going to be totally blind. Don't totally just follow a schedule, right? And just see what happens. And if there is a money to be made there. Okay. So how do you know, right? So it has to be evidence-based. And then what you do is you're going to download all the data from, what you can get in the stock market for the last 10, 20, 30 years. And then we'll use the data to experiment with the strategy. And then in the end, to see if you made money or not. Okay. So the reason there is a chance you'll make money is because of this. Is because there are a lot of people doing day trading. You know what that is, right? They just buy and sell every day, right? And the worst thing they want to do is they don't want to hold the stock for too long, right? Because what if something happened, then they lose money, right? So what they do is they want to get out of the market on Friday, Friday afternoon, because the Friday afternoon, if they don't get out, then that means they're going to hold this stocks for the whole weekend. And then if something happens in the world that will bring down the stock market, then Monday they're going to lose their shirt, right? So what they do is they sell everything on Friday afternoon, and then they can go weekend when the stock market is closed, and then Monday morning they come back into the market again, right? So if many people do that, then there's more people selling on Friday afternoon, and more people are gonna buy on Monday morning, right? Just because of statistics, right? Just because of that. So because of the demand and the supply, when more people are selling, the price of the stock will go down, right? Right? Because there's more supply of the stocks, then more shares, then it'll go down. And then Monday morning, when more people buying, so statistically, the price will go up a little bit, right? Right? Because people bid the prices up when they all trying to buy. Okay, so there is a theory that if we do this consistently, right, and then eventually long term, not just looking at 1 week or 2 weeks, but say a month, a quarter, 6 months, a year, then you're going to make money, right? So that's just a hypothesis you can test. And how can you test? You just take the old data from the history and then you can test it, see if that will make you money, correct? So that's just the one idea. There are tons of this kind of ideas. Okay, like a mutual funds, they do something with window dressing. So anyway, so that's the one idea. I'm not going to talk too much about it unless you're interested. Okay, so so that's one. And then also we did like a ghost kitchen application. So restaurants could register with this app, and then they can put on the menu, and then so people could order online, and then you will just forward the order to the corresponding restaurants, And then when they are ready, they will inform you. You will inform the customer, and then they will also do the delivery. You will track the delivery, and then you also charge the customer. Okay, then you will return the money, less the fee to the restaurant, right? So that was what we did the last semester, I believe, in the spring semester, and people did a great job. So that was another one, and then there are many others we did in the past. But I tend not to do the existing ones because then you can get help from your friends, and then you copy this, and then they defeat the whole purpose. So would rather find the new ones every semester. So if you have something new, and people all feel, many of you feel that's interesting, then we could put that into the pool, and then you could decide, to do that one rather than this one, rather than this hiking one. Comprende? Yeah. Okay. So, any idea at all? Anything you want to suggest? If you don't have anything, then we don't have a choice now. That means, right? That means we're gonna have to do this one. Yes, but many of you haven't said anything, so if you don't really propose anything, then I guess we're gonna just work on this one. That's just like the default. We default to this one, right? There's no competing ones. Nobody? Any objections to this one? If there are no objections, maybe we just use this one. Then our effort is to add new aspects, new features, new components into this project. So in the end, you're going to have a complete, the commercial level, commercial type of application. Okay. Now you may also decide to go on to move it into a web application. You may also decide to move it to a mobile application. So there are two other options once you finish this Java application. Okay. One is mobile. Mobile means meant for phones to use. Then whoever wants to use this application, they just have to download an app. Okay, then they do not need a browser. They just use an app to use the application. Okay, that's called a mobile application. Or you could just make it a web application rather than a mobile application. A web application, that means all you need just a browser on the user side. So the user just need a browser. That means since you have a browser on your phone, so you can use it. Also, as long as you have a computer, you have a browser on, then you can use it as well. Okay, so it's a broader application, broader usage for an app web application. A mobile application is meant just for mobile phones, not for like desktop computers, because you have to download an app. Okay, so there's two other levels you can go. So that means there's quite a lot of work to do, really, if you want to go that far. But for this course, I'm happy if you just have one Java application. Okay, but if you want really try to do a mobile application or a web application, or both if you're crazy. Okay, or three of them. Then that's what I meant. Is that okay then? Well, unless you have new ideas, otherwise we just do this. So if that's the case, then you can improve. You should improve, obviously, right? You should improve. And you should still make sure you are picking the right data structure. Oh, there's another component. At some point, we also need to incorporate the databases into this application. So rather than using data structures, we're going to shut down data structures. Instead, we're going to use an entirely different way of storing data. That's databases. Yes? So that's something we need to add into this project as well. So we do have a lot of things to do. Yes? So that means you should keep up with the work. You have to keep up, right? Because every week, every day, we have a new material. And that needs to be added into the project. Are you guys okay with that? Yes? Okay. So if you're okay with this, then we can just do this, okay? I cannot believe Kiefer can keep a straight face when chatting with Cody. Cody cannot even pretend, and Kiefer can. That's amazing. Okay, anyway, we're gonna finish up the GitHub. Okay, so that means by next Monday, listen up. By next Monday, your project should be on GitHub. And also add me as a collaborator. So this way I can look. Is it okay? Okay. This upcoming Monday, okay? Not 2 weeks from Monday. Every week, almost every week, sometimes even every class, we're gonna have something new to add. Okay, depending on how much time we need. Yeah, Jaleel, what's up?
So just to get like the final overview, this upcoming Monday, Monday the 19th, we should have the phase 1 submitted into the GitHub of the project, right? Like if you finish phase 1 of the project, you submit it to GitHub, and then we continue to, I guess, go to phase 2 or phase 3, whatever.
Right. You
Yeah.
can just improve as we go. I'm gonna make a new assignments every week, if not every lecture. Okay, depending on how much we learn that week or that lecture. Okay, so right now, this weekend before Monday, you're gonna need to upload everything onto GitHub and add me as a collaborator. So this way I can access your stuff. Is it okay? Okay, so that's upcoming Monday, okay? You all heard me, right? And then you can continue working on the project, improve it, and do whatever you need, because eventually all those are going to be contributing to your the next phase. Okay, it's not going to be wasted. So if you didn't do a good job for the last Monday or the passing Monday, then past Monday, then you should still improve. Okay, to make sure you do well for the next deadline. Okay, and then at some point we also need a exam. Okay, so we could basically have this project finished, okay, plus an exam, and the rest of the project is going to be more and more stuff, as I said before. Okay, you're going to add many aspects to it. And the first step, though, is by Monday, add me as a collaborator and send me an invite. Okay, remember I showed you how to send an invite? So this way I can accept it. Once I accept it, then I can see your project repository. Okay, make this as its own repository. Okay, make the project its own repository. So you can just share me with that one, this one project. Good. All right. So any questions? No questions. Okay, even no questions, I just want to do a quick review what we did, right? What we did last time was I'm going to show you my screen, and then we're gonna do a quick review. Then we're gonna cover a few more things. And as you work on it, you will have more questions using GitHub. Then we can always talk about it, right? There are a lot of things you can do on GitHub. Very interesting. It's a skill you should have, you must have, I think. Everybody needs to know it. So I think you may want to, keep an eye on it, learn new aspect of it, because obviously we cannot cover everything in this amount of time we have. So I'm gonna take you to GitHub, and then I log it in, right? I think I had a thing called a CSE 248 for 2020 trail app. Remember that, right? So I created a repository. You see this, and in this repository, I had a .git ignore, right? And that determines what will be backed up, what will not be backed up. So whatever listed here is not going to be backed up. Whatever is not listed here will be get backed up. Okay. And then there's a README file which uses a language called Markdown language, MD, and then you can open it. Okay, that's done by the initial commit. And so far we had 6 commits. You can see we had 6 commits. Okay, and basically that means is we took 6 snapshots. Okay, so the very first one is the initial commit. That was 2 days ago. And then afterwards we did a few more. Okay, here is my README file. You see the README file has only one line. That's one line. Basically, it's like a title. And then if you want to add stuff to it, you can modify it. You see there's a pen here. That means if you want to modify this file, you could. Okay, so I want you to, as part of the project, right? Since you're going to continue work on the project, I would like you to, use this feature. So in other words, you modify it, and then you will kind of make a note of it. Okay, what you are doing. Okay, so you could say like something like 2 pound. 2 pound means the font size will be smaller than 1 pound. Okay, so the header is CSE 248 for 2020 trail app. 2 pounds is like a lower level header. Okay, so 2 pound is progress. For example, I'm just making up something. Progress report. Okay, so that's the second. So if you want to look at it, you could look at it. You can preview changes. So I just add this. You see, that's part of the syntax of Markdown. Okay, it doesn't seem like much, right? But if you look at the change, you notice that this is smaller than this, right? So you are actually defining the font size. You notice that, right? And then there's a whole language for that, so syntax for that. So you could, so we're not going to, we're going to continue work on the file, and then you're going to say one finished assessing data structures used. So for example, so this is the thing you can do like a tool. You can say pushed onto GitHub on say, I don't know, 10/17/2020. Okay, so okay, basically you can, this is a place that allow you to make some notes for yourself, right? And then when you finish the version, you say this part is determined, is finished. This is the version 1. This is the version 2, and wasn't. Then you can also have something like to do list. So you can have a to-do list. So then you can say 1, finish up data structures, so on, so on. So if you're done, you could just preview the change, and then now you see you have some kind of font. Then you can also have a bold, italic. You're gonna have all kinds of syntax, just like we look at a web page. A web page HTML is called a markup. So this is a markdown. So it's a similar idea, but different syntax, different ways of doing things. You can also have links in here. So you can quickly do a little research. You can find out markdown syntax. See, that will show you all the markdown basic syntax, and will tell you exactly 1 is the heading level 1 is this size, heading level 2 is this size, heading level 3 is smaller, 4 is even smaller, 5 is even smaller, 6 is even smaller, then the rest is the same. Okay, and then here is allow you to do heading level 1 with the H1, that's HTML correspondence. Okay, so you can do things like that. Okay, then you have a heading practice, do this and not that. Okay, don't do this. So in other words, you want to have a space here in between. So how to do paragraphs? See, that's how you do paragraphs. You mark down. You can just do paragraphs. And in HTML though, you have to use a P tag, right? Paragraph tag. Okay, that's the HTML, right? But this is markup. This is markup. This is markdown. Okay, the output will look just like this, same thing. Okay, so if you know HTML, it may help you learn how to use Markdown. Okay, so paragraph best practice, so you can line breaks, you can just break. And in HTML is the BR, right? You see the BR? That's a line break. Okay, line break best practices, emphasis, bold, then use a star, then surrounding the bold words. Okay, so it will look like this, see? And this is the strong, that's HTML corresponding syntax. Okay, so if you know HTML, this helps you to learn Markdown. Okay, then italic, for example, is 1 star, italic. Okay, so if you go back to here, over there, go into here, so you can continue to make change, and then you say that's 1 star, 1 star, and then you can have another star. Okay, so it's like we did in here, 1 star, another star. But usually people just put them in together. So instead of the room in between, so like that. So now you can say, I want to view the change, and hopefully you see that the structure is italic. You see that? Can you see it? There's a small difference, right? It's a data structure. So anyway, so those things you know how to learn, and bold, italic, block code, you see, just like a HTML. So I'm not going to spend more time on this, right? So that's your README file. And once you have it, then you can decide you want to commit a change, right? So you can say, okay, I want to commit a change. And then you can say, put some kind of, that's optional, right? Update README file, and you can commit the main branch. That's the only branch right now. Okay, that's the main branch. and the plus the main branch is called master. Okay, branch is called a master branch. Okay, so you will see this later on a lot. It's called a master branch, or even commit to a new branch. So we're not going to do that. We just use that as a master branch. Okay, so we can just say commit changes. Okay, remember we had 6 commits before. Now when we commit the changes, then basically we save it. So now we should have 7 commits. This is the latest commit just now. See now the latest commit, and then we can look at the result. And then now you see 7 commits now. Used to be 6, right? 7 commits. So you can see updated README file. You see this, and it was 15 seconds ago. You got it. So that is how you do do over here. So this is called master branch. Okay, that's called a master branch, and this whole GitHub is on the cloud, right? That's on the company GitHub, Microsoft really. There's only one branch. You see the one branch, right? And it's called a master branch. Now this is called origin. Don't forget that. Okay, so we're going to refer to GitHub by the word origin. Why is that? That's because when we initially cloned on a local computer, right? Basically, we pull down everything from GitHub to our local computer. So everything originally came from here. That's why we call this origin. Okay, now the location is going to be referred to as origin. Sometimes people refer it as remote as well. So both is okay. But technically, we call origin. Okay, now the branch name by default is called a master. So this is called origin master. So if we want to push something in onto here, right, onto remote. So I don't know if you remember the command on git bash. Okay, like a git bash. What I did was I used a command called a git push, which is an abbreviated version of origin master. That we don't say. That's the default. That's the default, right? So we don't have to say it. You could say it, okay, or you don't have to say it. So what it means is I'm going to push my local repositories, my local snapshots onto the remote one. The remote one is referred to as origin. And then we also specify which branch we're going to push this to, okay, because potentially you have multiple branches, right? So in this case is the master branch. So if we don't say anything, that's just what it is. But if we do want to a different branch, then we have to say a different branch name instead of master. Okay, what are you making, Ryan?
Sorry, I'm making tea. I'm pouring it into the steeper. That's my fault. Sorry.
That's okay. We're just curious. I'm just curious. Okay, so that's the terminology you need to know. Okay, so here is since it's on GitHub, so it is origin, and this is the only branch, and we call that branch master branch. Okay, and in this case, it's called the main branch. Is really when we look at all branches, it's really the only branch. That's the one, the main branch. That's the master branch. Okay. What else? Other things I would say the important is this place. And you need this location. You see, that's the link that identifies this repository. Okay. Also, if you want to invite me to be a collaborator to see your code, you go to settings. You see the settings. Once you're on settings, then you see there is a manage access, right? When you go to manage access, you can log in. I don't know. I think that's my password. Okay, I forgot what it was now. But anyway, I wrote it down somewhere. So
it was Chen the Professor.
no, that's my username.
Try it.
I don't have to try because I know it's not right. That's my username.
You had it saved. Yeah, last time you had it saved in the field.
Yeah, he's saying like it was saved in your. So if you click in there, it should like predict it for you. You know, like it stored your password last time.
I did. Okay, now here. Now this is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you saved my password. It's saved the encrypted one. Okay, anyway. So now I have this. Now here, invite a collaborator. So you're gonna put my email address on, or put my my username on, which is a change the instructor, or put both. Okay, so this way I will get it. Okay, now when I receive your invite, right, I will accept it right away. Okay, so when I see it, I will accept it right away, usually within hours. Okay, no more than 1 day. So if within a day, you still, after the day, you still don't see me accepting it, you don't see me as a collaborator, then that means I didn't get the invite. Okay, you may just have to send me an email asking me if I did it or not, or just send me another invite. Okay, most time should not happen. Okay, so if you want to play with things, then you can go to options and create the things and delete them. Okay, in the bottom you see there is a delete this repository, so that's good to know. Okay, so you can feel comfortable playing with it, do whatever you need, and then once you don't need it, you can you can remove it. Okay. What else? Oh, if someone has a repository, right, which is a public, then or you are a collaborator, you could also fork someone else's repository. So what happens when you fork? Then that person, in this case, is me. Okay, if you go, you will take this repository and copy it onto your personal repository. Okay, that's what a fork means. Okay, anyway, so I think those, okay. Now, if multiple people are working on the same project, and then when you believe your project is good and made a meaningful contribution, and then you may want the owner of the repository to incorporate your changes or your contribution, then you will file something called a pull request. In other words, the owner could pull your changes and then merge yours with the main branch. So this way, will make the will conclude the contribution. Otherwise, your contribution will stay on your computer, on your branch, will never be visible or be used by other people. So that's what pull requests mean. Okay, so what else? I think that's about it for the most part. Yeah. So this tells you this is a private one. Anyone. Okay, so that's it. That's all we need to know. Okay, on the origin master. Okay, now I'm going back to my local computer. Okay. I'm coming back to my own local computer. And you understand this is a tilde here. That means I'm on my home directory, okay? So if I type pwd, which means print working directory, it stands for print working directory. It shows my current location is C drive users CHAN-B, right? Okay. Now, if I do ls-a, that will show the content for my home directory. Okay, you got it? All means all content. Okay, including hidden ones. Now, when I do that, hopefully you will see a file called .git-config. Okay, so that is a file which obviously is hidden, that contains configurations for all your local repositories, right? because potentially you can have multiple repositories on your computer, correct? Right? Because remember I said I recommend you to do a portfolio type of thing. Remember that? Right? So if I open my portfolio, I remember I had a documents portfolio and I had portfolio 2020, right? And in there, I only have one repository, right? That's my workspace. But I can potentially have more, right? So the place I showed you earlier, that is this location on my home directory, which is tilde, also known as C drive users.chenby. You should have a file called .git config. Okay, that file contains Git configurations for all your local repositories. Okay, so I'm going to open that file for you to look at it. Okay, so I'm going to say less. Remember that opens up a text file, right? .git config. So I'm going to open this file so you can see what's inside. All right, so I'm going to open it, and you see I have 2 lines in there. I have 2 lines in there. The first line says, first of all, there's a category called a user, which is who the user are for this repository. And then one is the name. Okay, the user name is b.chen. That's my name. Okay, and then also my email is equals chenb@sunysoftware.edu. Okay, this is something I set up for every of my repositories on this computer. Okay, now why is it important? Because ultimately, if I work with a team, right, then obviously I will contribute, I make changes. So everybody should know who made what changes. Okay, this is the name and the email address used to identify me. So if I make changes, somebody will see my name because I did it. Not only see my name, but also see my email address, so they know who to contact, who is just to blame, so to speak. Okay, so that is something very important. Now, if I don't have this, so if you don't have this, right, you can set it up yourself. So I'm going back out to my Git now, right? So what you do is you can set something called git config, then called a global. Okay, git. Okay, that's how you do it. How you set up a username and the email address, that's what you want to do. So git. So you notice all the git commands start with a git. Okay, git space. Then you follow by the actual command. So git just means the following command is a git command. Okay. Then what follows is real command. The real command in this case is config. So in other words, I'm going to config my username and my not my user, my name and my email address. So then you have to have option. You have to specify. And the option is always start with the 2 dashes. So dash, you say global. Global means this is going to apply globally to all repositories. It's not limited to just one repository. That's why this goes to the file is in my home directory, not in my repository, because it applies to all repositories. It's a global one. Right? Is that clear? Okay, now I'm going to finish this up. Then I'm going to say user.name. Then you follow by the name you call yourself, right? So you say John Doe. Now you hit enter. Now from this point on, this John Doe will be entered into that file as a user. So whenever I make a change to any files, and then I will be identified by this name, so people know who made this change. So that's meant for like a team work. Okay, so you should always have such a thing. So you always identify, so people know who to blame or who to thank for. Okay, so that's how you set up. Now, why I put a double quote is because the name has a first name and last name and has a space in between. So I want this whole thing to be one unit, one string, right? I don't mean two separate strings. So that's why I put a double quote to tell, hey, this is just one string. It's one name entity. It's one entity, not two entities. Okay, if you don't have a space, say you just want to identify yourself as John, you don't need the double quote. Okay, that means then the only thing will be taken as the username. Okay, you understand? Okay, that's the one thing. But I'm not going to change this. So I'm not going to do this, but I just show you this is how you do it, right? Okay, now you can also determine your email address. Okay, and to email address, what you do is user.email. Okay, and then you follow by the email address. The email address you could put into a double quote is a johndoe@gmail.com. So you don't have to put a double quote, but people most times put a double quote to be safe because they want to treat it as one entity. And then since there's a @ sign in there, and then they say, okay, I just make sure this is treated as one entity. So if you do this, then your email is also set up. Okay, and then you notice the label here, user email, last time was user the name, right? See this user, that's the category. Remember when I opened that file, there's a user, the first line was user in the square bracket, that's a category name. So that corresponding to this part, the user part. The email is the one underneath it. Okay, so that's how you set up the global parameters or global settings. And whatever you say goes to that file in your home directory. The file name is .git config. Okay, that applies to everybody. Okay, now I'm gonna go to my portfolio now. Okay, go to my portfolio. Here's my portfolio. Document/portfolio for 2020, I believe. Right? Is that what I think so? Right? For 2020. So I'm going there. No, that's not what it is. So CD document.
I think it's just the 2020 after portfolio.
Oh, okay. Portfolio 2020. Yeah. So I'm in my portfolio, right? I'm in my portfolio. Now I'm in my portfolio. And then this time I already have a project. Last time I didn't have a project. I started by pulling the remote repository down by using the command called clone. I don't know if you remember that. Monday, we used the clone to clone an existing remote repository. We brought it down local, right? Right? But this time I'm going to do it differently. This time I'm going to assume that I already have a project on my computer. Okay? And I want to push this one. This one means the existing project up to GitHub. Last time is the opposite. Last time is I already have a remote repository on GitHub. I want to put it down to my local computer. Then use that as a workspace, right? But what if I already have a project? Like your project, like the hiking project. You already have a local project, right? So all you need really in this case is to push your local project up to, first of all, to make a local repository, right? Because you don't have a repository yet if you haven't done so. Okay, then afterwards, you're going to push your local repository to the remote repository. So this is kind of opposite of what we did last time. I don't know if it doesn't make any sense. Last time is different from this time. Okay, last time I had no local project last time. I brought down something that was entirely new. Okay, so if you want to see it, that's what I brought down. I created this on my remote. I brought it down to my local computer. My local computer had nothing. Okay, so when I brought it down, I got those two files, readme and .git ignore, right? Then once I brought it down, I used the folder as my workspace to link to my Eclipse. Then I start to write the code into it, right? That's why once I go into CSE 248 and the 2020 trail app. Okay, now you see I have that's the main branch, and then I have a hello world folder in there. How do you know the folder? You see the slash, and you see there's a quote. That means that is one entity. It's not two folders, or it's not one file or one folder. Instead, the whole thing is in quote. That means it's one entity. It's one directory, in other words. And then I have a README as well. And then also I have a dot ignore, right? And then plus I have dot metadata, and also I have a local repository. Remember the local repository? I had trouble showing it last time. I accidentally hide it, right? So so this is the local repository. Don't forget this. So all the local snapshots go into here, into this directory. Okay, that's in addition to the remote repository on GitHub. You got it? Yes? Okay. Now, this is one case. This case means I have my project on GitHub. I brought it down to my local computer, then use this as a starting point. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do it differently. I'm not going to bring down the portfolio or bring down the project from the GitHub. Instead, I'm going to start from the existing project locally. Okay, so I'm gonna do this instead. Okay, I'm gonna start, let's say, Eclipse. So I have Eclipse. So I'm going to create a new project this time. Okay, I'm going to create a new project. So I'm going to create a new project in the repository. I think it's called this. It's called a portfolio 2020. And so inside, I'm going to have a name. Let me come up with a name for this project. So I'm going to call stock trading app. Okay, so that's something new. So I'm going to create a new project. Okay, totally locally. There's nothing to do with the GitHub at this point. Okay, it's empty. Now I'm going to create it. Okay, so I'm going to launch this. Okay, I'm going to launch this. Basically, it creates a folder called a stock trading app. So take a little bit. All right, so I'm here, and then I'm gonna create a new project, and I'm gonna call this trading app, okay? And trading demo. So here's my class. That's my class. So I say finish. Okay, I'm not going to create this. I think I did something maybe. Okay, anyway, so here I'm going to do a package.
Well, this is awkward.
Maybe his internet went down.
This is awkward.
We should, I mean, I guess, email him maybe?
I mean, wait, isn't he the host? So if he DCs, we all DC? Oh, maybe, wait,
No.
maybe not.
No.
It's because it's a public, like, room.
Oh, because every single time I have to get let in, so I don't know.
I'll email him now.
All right, so what's the protocol? We wait here, we leave. What?
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
I'm just gonna wait, you know?
I'll wait till 2:10. Usually
I'm
that's when
gonna
the class
wait.
ends.
I'm gonna wait because I got like an hour and a half.
Oh,
Oh,
here he
sorry.
is.
My computer
Oh,
froze.
there he is.
I'm so sorry. My computer froze. Let me set my screen up. I don't know what happened. It does this occasionally. So let me see. So you cannot see my screen, so I'm going to have to share my screen. Present now. Okay. So I'm sure. So this is my GitHub stuff, right? This part is we okay. And now I just need to open my Eclipse and see what I get. I don't know what I get. Okay, let's see if I create the folder or not. Go to my portfolio. Let me see documents. Portfolio 20. So I have that stock trading app. You see that stock trading app? Okay, that's there. And so that is the another folder. So I think I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to delete this. Actually, let me delete all of them from scratch. Okay, let me delete all this from scratch. And then I'll show you again. Delete all this from scratch. Okay. All right, so right now, I'm gonna start my Eclipse and then go to the workspace. And then I'm going to put my new project. So I make the portfolio as my workspace, and the project will be created inside there. Okay, so I think that will be easier. So this is going to be the portfolio. That's my workspace, and that's where I put all my repositories on. Okay, so this is another project. In other words, what I'm going to do is another project. So going launch, that's my workspace. Okay. Once I'm in, I'm going to create the project. I did an extra level earlier. Okay, so now I'm going to create a Java project. Okay, I'm going to call this stock trading app. Okay, so I'm going to go finish. Okay, so I don't need the module. And now I have this, right? So I'm going to create my package. And I created my, the wrong one. Created my package. New package, and the P1. And then I'm going to just put a stock demo inside. Stock demo. Main in there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to delete this and then this is out. This is a stock demo. Okay, so that's my program. So I'm gonna save it, and then I'm going to get out it. So presumably this is something you did for your hiking project. Okay, you already have them in Eclipse, right? And they're not on GitHub. So my goal is to push this onto the GitHub. You got it? Okay, so so this is different from last time. Okay, now here's what you're gonna have to do. First of all, in order to make this work with the GitHub, you need to download the Git, right? Obviously, which you did, hopefully. And then you're gonna go to your portfolio, which is the workspace. That will be documents slash, and then actually Windows is slash, and then you're gonna use a portfolio 20. No, portfolio documents. No. Let's see, should be this because it's a Unix command, so it's not Windows. I forgot. So you got to use forward slash. Then you just say portfolio 2020. There you go. So I'm now in portfolio 2020, and you see I have two applications. One's the trail one, that was one we did before, and this is a new one we did just moments ago, right? Okay, so now what I need is I want to turn this into a to have its own repository, a local repository. Okay, so so you want this to be eventually pushed up to GitHub, the second one. You all right with that? That's what we want to do. Okay, the first one we did already. We already had a portfolio. We already had a repository over there, right? The second one we don't. Okay, here's what you have to do. You have to initialize the project. So you have to say git init. You have to say init, and then you have to say the project name. That is stock trading app. Okay, so that's the first step. You have to mark this project as a Git project. Okay, so you hit enter. You hit enter. Okay, now you see initialize the empty Git repository in this. So you initialize. So what happened is inside that that folder. Okay, so I'm gonna go inside the folder cd stock trading app. I'm going inside there now, and over there now you all of a sudden have that .git folder. That is the local repository. So that is created by git init. So now we established a local repository by doing so. Okay, of course, before you do this, you may want to do all the other things such as set the username, set the email, right? And now formally we have a local repository. Okay, now local repository, you see the master branch? That's my default branch. Okay, that's my master branch. So that's the only branch right now. Okay, so I'm going to take a snapshot. I'm going to take a snapshot, back it up, right? Back it up locally. So what you do is you say git add, and then you say dot. If you put a dot, that means you're going to track all the files and the folders in this directory, in the stock trading app directory. You're going to track them all. You're going to back them all up, so to speak. Okay. If you don't want to do so, of course, then you have to do a couple other things. For example, you may want to do that .git ignore, right? If you don't want to back up everything. Remember that file .git ignore. So you can say, I can say vi is a text editor. I'm sure there's other text editors. Then vi, then I say .git ignore. Okay, and then hit enter. and then I would change that to insert mode, and I would say anything start with a start dot say class. So that will be skipped. It's not going to be backed up. Star is a wildcard. Remember that, right? Then I also say anything that starts with a or ends with a temp, I don't want to back up. Okay, so remember there's a template, right? You could use that or just create your own. Well, anyway, so once done, I'm just going to save it, escape, and then colon. W means to save, Q means to quit. Now I have that file created, right? So if I say ls-a, and then you will see that new file .get ignore, which is created, right? So if you want to see it, like you say les.get ignore, and then you see the 2 lines in there, star and the class and the temp. Okay, so that's cool. All right, good. Okay, now we're going to take a snapshot of the project and put it into the local repository. Okay, to do that, so I'm going to say git add and star. That means I want to track everything to be part of the snapshot. Okay, or you can before you do this, you can type git status. And that tells you, hey, you have so many new things you haven't been tracking. So these are untracked files. You see this? There are no commits. There's no snapshots. You are on the master branch, and then there's all new stuff you haven't backed up. You haven't tracked, in fact. So in order to back up, you have to track first. So we say, okay, we're going to track everything, including SRC. That's the source code file. That the demo program is SRC. You see that slash that tells you that's the folder, right? So you say, okay, so you're going to say git add dot. So that means you're going to track everything in this dot, means current folder. So you're going to track everything in the current folder. You hit enter. Now you are tracking all of those. Now I can say git status. Then tells you, oh, these are all tracked. Another word for tracked is a staged. So they're all staged. You can do this to unstaged, but we don't want unstaged. Okay, that means they're all tracked. Now, since they're all tracked, we can take a snapshot now, right? We can take a snapshot. So this is how you take a snapshot. So git commit, that's the command, right? All the git commands start with the git. So just that's the part of the deal. Git, then command itself is going to commit. And then you're going to say -m. That means you'll put a message. And then you say initial commit with an existing stock trading project. So that's already existed, right? So now a snapshot is taken. The snapshot is stored in that local.git folder. So the local.git folder has a snapshot. But so far, none of those went to the GitHub, to the remote GitHub. Right? So you cannot even push. You cannot do anything because there's no connection between your local computer and the GitHub at this point. Do you understand that? So far, everything's local. Everything's local. I just did everything like I normally do. Then I have my project. Then I also had a local repository by doing the git init. Remember init? Okay, so initialize it. So I created a local repository and also committed my first commit into the local repository. That's all I've accomplished so far. Okay, do you understand so far? Yeah. Okay, now it's time to push my local repository to the remote one, right? Either for the reason of backing up, okay, or for the reason of file sharing, right? So if I have a team working on the same project, so someone else may want to work on this, right? So I want to share my code. So in order to do that, I have to make a connection between my local folder, my local repository, with GitHub, right? Because he doesn't even know what GitHub is at this point. So you have to make a connection first. Okay, all right, that's how you're gonna make a connection. What you're gonna do is you're gonna say git. You're gonna say git. Then you're gonna say remote. Basically, now you're gonna set up a remote repository. Remember, remote is origin, right? So we're gonna set a remote. Then you're gonna say add. Okay, just remote. Then add. Okay, add. Then you're gonna add that a new. I'm gonna do this at the location. So you're gonna be at origin. So you can add the origin. So that means the remote one is gonna be, it's kind of awkward command. It's very long and tedious. Okay, so I'm gonna make this longer for you to, there's a window longer. So now I have to specify who is gonna be my origin, remote origin. So I'm gonna say HTTPS, okay, // then github.com. See, I'm trying to connect to github.com, make that one my remote origin. Okay, so / then my username, see, to for the specific user. Then I have to put up a repository name. Okay, repository name, I can call it, I'm gonna call this the same name. Okay, so it will be called stock trading app .git. So in other words, that location is gonna be my origin. Okay, on github.com, under this username, this particular repository is going to be called origin from this point on, linked to my local stock trading app. So add that as my origin. All right. So I'm gonna hit enter. If I remember correctly, this should be okay. Right, seems to be okay. Now I'm ready to, I made a connection, in other words. Okay, now let me see if I can go to my GitHub, see if I have this repository created. Okay, stock trading, because it wasn't there before, we know that, right? So go to repository, go into here, and then I go to repositories, see if I will find a repository called stock trading app. No, you didn't find it. So that means we haven't pushed anything up there yet. I think that's what it means. Okay, so now let's go back to here, and then we're going to try to push it up there. Okay, so here's you're gonna do. You're gonna say git push, okay, push, and then you can say origin master. Origin is gonna be that one. Master is the master branch. Okay, so you're gonna push this to there. Okay, to the origin. The origin is already defined as this location. That's already defined. Okay, so now I can just hit enter, and then fatal repository not found. Okay, so it needs me to create the repository first. Looks like maybe forgot. So maybe I will create one here. Okay, I create a new repository. I'm gonna call this stock trading app. Okay, so I'm gonna create that one, make it public. I don't care. So I can just say add a README. Even I can have the add.get ignore if I want to. That's fine. And I pick Java. That's fine too. And I create a repository. Okay, I create a repository. Okay, now for the time being, I'm going to delete my local.get ignore because I have two. Okay, so I'm going to remove .get ignore. Okay, that's ignore. So I don't have a local one. It's all remote. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did before, which is to add that as remote. It wasn't there before, so I had to create one first. I thought it would do it automatically for me, so it didn't. Okay, so now I set this as origin, and then fatal. Origin existed. Oh, because I already did one. The first time I did. Okay, now let me see. Git a push origin master. No, I'm gonna do a pull first. Pull. I'm pulled whatever I have in there. So no common commit remote object for done remote for GitHub main instructor trading app, new branch, origin master. There's no tracking information for this kind of branch. Please select which branch you want to merge with. Okay, so I'm gonna say git pull origin master. I'm gonna call the master one. Huh? Oh, I have a student come in. All right, so I guess I didn't do this successfully. I'm going to show you next time. But in the meantime, you don't have to wait for me, or either you can do a little bit of Google, find out, see which part I made a mistake, or what you can do is do the way I did the first time, and then copy your project into that workspace. Okay, that exists the workspace we did last time, and then you push it like we did last time. Okay, or I can post something the exact procedure on GitHub for you, or on Piazza for you. Okay, we're already a little bit late, and then another student wants to get in. He had a question for me. All right. So either way, you can do either the first way, or try to do the Google on this way, or I can post the exact steps for this way, the one with the fail. We're almost there. Okay, I missed something. I don't know what it was. So I see you next Monday, and then you should have everything set up, and then invite me as a collaborator. Okay. All right. Okay, I see you Monday.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day, Professor.
Bye.
Have a good day, Professor.
Bye.